Hello, welcome to episode 90 of Brise's Tale. As you may know, my name is Kevin Manus Pennings. I'll be your host and game master for tonight. Playing Brise, as always, is my good buddy Max. And you noticed that you may have noticed that we dispensed with the typical scat. That's because it's a fairly somber day here in Dallas, Texas, shooting, and so we thought we would send a word or two out about that and not have the joviality of our typical beginning. Max, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's a really terrible thing, and it's so common, and so rarely is it close to us. But this one was, and it's really awful. And my heart goes out to anybody who's suffering because of it, or scared because of it. It's a really awful thing, and I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel for policy and new actions that are coming in. I hope so. So yeah, my heart goes out to everybody who's been affected by it, and I'm sorry. So,
Yeah, I can only echo those sentiments. We're both just shocked and appalled by the loss of life, and I think Max put it very well that our thoughts go out to everyone affected by such a senseless killing. And we send you our best, and we hope that things will get better, and that you believe that things will get better. And so the mall is only a few miles from each of our homes. And so we have, we've shopped there each, and our families shop there, or, at least mine family shops there. And so yeah, not a happy day in Texas, but we wish you guys all the best, and hope that recovery is swift. With that said, it is the 90th episode of Karandrin. That makes it a hat day, and so
and
we shall don our big aught hats, right?
yes, hopefully bringing some cheer back into.
That's right. Shifting gears slightly, and my glasses got knocked off almost. There you go. I'm gonna have to tilt
Yeah,
that
it's
up
too
a little
tall
bit.
for this camera.
I know, right? It's That's right. Mine's really too tall. Mine goes. So it is episode 90. We're just 10 away from 100, which we'll be pretty proud of, I think. So Max, why don't you give us a recap about what was going on and what's to come?
Yeah, hopefully there's no background noise. Anyone's picking up someone's coughing in the other room, but that's fine. They're okay. So, in terms of recapping the last episode, I actually did go back real close here. So, yeah, we was returning to the keep after the whole episode with dealing with Gadraz and kind of that attack that happened at the end of the episode. So we were returning to the keep, and I ended up having a dream about the Iron Empress. And the Iron Empress makes, as she has done in the past, makes an offer to me, tries to kind of get me on her side, and she does sway me a little bit. She ends up offering me the location of where Ichar is. We know is captain of the gate guard at Miagral's Keep, was exposed for being involved in the cults in the town of Balabri that I helped disband, and now he's on the run. So the Iron Empress literally somehow by some divine power showed me his location, and so now we have a little bit of a tangle here. It was a very naughty dream, Quinn. Brees is being naughty. She's getting advice and help from ancient evil gods, but kind of we're entering a morally gray area here. As I my next assignment from Athene and Neogral is to go into the valley north of here, one of the valleys north of here, where there is a temple of the Iron Empress, still semi-active, or at least there's still some power behind it, even though it has been abandoned. And my job is to try clearing out making a safe passage for the temple and other forces to come in and properly sanctify or cleanse the place. So yeah, we're leaving off where I've kind of made all my preparations. I've got a little bit of extra equipment and a map and to try to get to the temple. And we're going to try going to the campsite that I had set up outside Gadraz's manor and starting from
Right.
there to find the
Right.
temple.
So that way you can pick up all your gear, and that's actually very close to the valley. It's
Mhm.
um, yeah, you just have to backtrack a few miles and then head north, and you'll be in the valley. Fraldrum drew the map while observing the temple from above. We don't know exactly what that means, if she was on the slope or if she was using her considerable magical abilities simply to fly. Um, um,
See, Quinn, I know it. I know. Listen, I Max wants to not to wash my hands of the Iron Empress, but Reese is unfortunately an 18-year-old girl, and yeah, I forgot she's 18 or 17.
um,
She doesn't know. She doesn't. Her brain cells haven't fully developed yet. So
18, yeah.
she makes some bad decisions.
That's right. Well, and it was in for the common good, or so she believed.
Yeah, theoretically, if I can, use her power against her in a way, or use it as long as I can without it,
Right,
becoming a threat, then might as well. I don't think I have too many qualms with that.
right. Um, so you're setting out in the morning to begin your teleport and so on, and then pack your gear and go. Why don't you bring them up to date also on Aldrif? We did that off screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Aldrif is the is Brise's love interest, handsome tailor who is now living in the castle. So why don't you bring us up to date on that?
yeah, so we just had a nice night together, and one of the questions brought up is eventually our parents or guardians kind of come to meet one another, which is would be kind of the step before an actual proposal marriage. So things are moving along nicely, yeah. So we're going to try to plan for mid July for my grandparents or Breeze's grandparents who are their guardians and Aldrich's parents to meet at Miagral Keep. It'd be a good opportunity to kind of show my family how my adventuring career has turned out for the better, and and interact with Aldrich's parents. So that'll be, we said mid July, so a little while in terms of real world play, but
Right.
it'd be cool to see if we actually make it there.
Um, oh, Quinn, Kralum, Kralum did not cut off
Did
Aldrich's
not cut
face. Not yet. I can wait.
I think that's all. We had just a generally nice night together, and
Yeah.
off stream.
So you wake up on the morning of what?
Morning of the 3rd, June
All
3rd.
right. So June 3rd it is. So roll away the 3 rolls that you typically get.
Yeah, before this session, I just rolled the dice randomly. I got a 99, so
That's hilarious.
there's 33.
All right. A nice early morning for you.
63 and 57.
So no dreams to speak of, and physically you're feeling fine. We did get a report back from the temple that it seems like the curse on Brise seems to be passing on its own. It seems to be fading. And that's understandably believed to be the work of Oxir, the god of war that Brise serves in particular. So you eat, you do your ablutions. You've taken care of some shopping. We already took care of that, and you got a nice ring of protection on loan from the temple, and now now you're going to teleport back to your camp. Actually, you've got to travel out of the keep,
Right.
and then teleport back to camp.
Down the slope of the mountain a little ways, and we'll try to
And
teleport.
Falcon on shoulder, your little birdie.
Yeah, Nalani.
And so, yeah, you get to your customary spot. I should roll for activity level for the day. All right. So, all right, sir. We'll roll to teleport back to
Yeah.
the
So use
roll to
my
cast, roll to aim.
channeling water skin here 3 times
Okay.
a day. Cast any spell without spending power points. It's 74 to cast
Nice. And now to aim.
and a 23 to aim.
Not great, but not far off. Um, you walk about, you find the fire still burning. It's,
Magic fire.
yeah, you find Fraldrum's tent still standing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you just gather your goods. Your um,
Horse is very happy to see me, I bet.
yes, um, she's a little tenacious to get moving. She's might be a little dehydrated, and she also wants more feed than she was allowed to get in the 24
Right.
hours or so that she was tied up.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I do like horses, so I'll make sure, take good care of her. Let her, before I jump on her, let's get her some
right.
water.
So yeah,
Space.
you just walk, knowing you'll come across streams here and there, and you give it whenever she wants to stop to graze. You just let her graze, and soon she's back to her old self. You are just heading sort of blindly through the woods to hit the road.
Yeah.
Um, you turn on that road to get to the main road that goes in and out of Ballabry, but of course it's several miles outside of town,
Right.
and um, so this one runs in between two mountains and a patch of hills, and soon you find yourself entering the side of the valley where the temple should lie.
Mm-hmm.
Although obviously it's considerably to the north. There's a place marked on Frowdrum's map. It's a hill with a double knobbed sort of bare rock at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You recall seeing that from the People of the Soil's balcony many weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, Although we say many weeks, time is strange in this game because it'll feel like months and it's only been like a few days.
Right.
Um, so
So you're saying I'd spot that on the map, or I'd see that in the distance?
you recognize when she talks about it on the map, when she
Oh, I
describes it
see.
on the
Okay.
map in a note, you're like, I know where that is, and that's about halfway to the um, halfway to the temple, on the same side as the temple.
Right.
Um, so let's talk about state of readiness. Let's talk about whether you're going to be on the horse or you're going to be leading the horse.
Yeah. Let's be on my horse, and I'll have my shield and bola. So if I see anything in the distance, I can get a hit on it. Hopefully, before it gets a hit on me. Bola
Right.
of burdening. Nice guy.
Yeah, weighs them down, and
Receives a critical from the bola. It's minus 25 to the target, which is pretty awesome.
yeah, it really slows them down. Um, all right, roll to navigate, sir.
I should say, is there enough, space with trees overhead to throw the bola on the road wide enough?
Well, you're off the road now.
Right.
It,
Once I get on to the road.
right into the yeah. I mean, there's definitely space, to throw it the 50 to 100 feet that you can typically get a bola.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Missing is the problem because then it will go into woods, but that's true for every thrown weapon.
Right.
So, um, um, all right. So roll to navigate, sir.
Boom. 67.
Not bad. So the first hour of travel, you're just going up and down the hills. You're trying to stay kind of high, um, and so that you can make out features on the higher things and the trees don't block your view.
Right.
Um, you may remember that there is a small community in this valley, just it's a little more than a smudge of smoke in the distance,
Mm-hmm.
and breaks in the trees and so on. You can make it out. It's in the far north. But it does occur to you that it might be worthwhile just to talk to those people about, hey, anything strange going on? Have you ever been to the temple? Anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see if I can. If it's not too far the way, I can make my way over there.
right. I mean, it'll be after the temple because you'll pass the temple before you get to the
Oh, I
fair.
see. Okay.
Um,
Right. I'll note that down.
so it's noon. You've been working through a very rugged um, hills and so on, working your way up and down. Um, you're not certain you're going to make it by nightfall to the temple, but that's neither here nor there, right? You're out of the way. You're working toward it. Um, so we'll race a meal.
Okay.
You stop and eat. Is there any prep you want to do while you're? I can't think of anything that you typically do, but I thought I would
Yeah.
ask.
I was looking through my spells, see if anything I could do, but no, nothing. Do have eyes of the eagle and ears of the hare. Those spells in case I do need to get a better look at something, but don't need them right now. I don't think.
Okay.
I remember what scrolls I have too. Some of those could be useful. Spider climb. Okay. Yeah,
All right.
we'll kind of keep on, until
Roll me another navigation roll.
as far as I can go. That's a 5.
Roll again and subtract it.
Okay, that's a 2.
Well, there
Negative
you go.
3. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not So it's just a 3 you rolled. So
Oh,
yeah,
right.
clearly you clearly are not you're not seeing any of the landmarks you hoped you would be seeing
Mm-hmm.
in the first hour. The second hour, um, horse gets nervous. You've been hearing something that you kind of discounted, thinking it was just wind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but dead ahead and in the distance, quite a bit in the distance, um, in patch below you, a rocky patch with just short shrubs, there is an ogre,
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
clearly marked with the dagger of the Iron Empress.
Mm. Okay.
Um, he carries a crude shield that looks like it's sort of made of a door, basically. It's half of a door. Um, I forgot to roll the type of weapon he's using.
I mean, he's got a door. I think you can do a lot of damage with that.
That's all. He's only interested in hardware-based attacks. So, um, it's home goods. That's all he's interested in, is home
Oh,
goods. So,
good. Okay.
um, so I just wrote IE ogre for Iron Empress ogre, and I'm like Internet Explorer, which then brought to mind this thing I found on Facebook, which is a animated pie chart of the dominance of various browsers over the past 30 years.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. That was
Yeah.
really interesting. I mean, like so many of them grow to, not so many of them, but there was certainly a Netscape, and then Internet Explorer, and then Chrome. They all grew to be 90% of the market,
Right.
and then kind of diminished. It was very interesting.
I still can't understand why people don't use Chrome. I get it. There are some like disadvantages, but I'm just like, I find it so much smoother than any other one.
Yeah. He has a long sword that is at his waist. He has, sort of ragged animal skin bags in which he carries goods. He has a crude metal helmet on, and looks like it's the paint that is the curved dagger of the Iron Empress has been painted onto what looks like a sheet of chain mail. It's probably a couple of suits of chain mail that he has torn open and just crudely sewn together. I'm going to warn you, and you just know naturally, just from your training, that that's going to be a tough target to hit. I mean, you'll hit him, and he can take a lot of hits. He is headed directly towards you. He has not noticed you. You recall from helping the couple up on the mountain pass, if you may remember years ago, that they do have a keen sense of smell.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not even at the temple yet. I don't really feel like dealing with this guy. Although it could be a source of information, which is interesting.
The wind is blowing across you, not toward him.
Yeah.
But he could, if he comes across your trail, he might try to follow you, and that could be an interesting thing in and of itself.
Right.
But even he is way off. But he just, plunged through some trees. He's not trying to be stealthy.
Right.
The stealth of an ogre is hard to imagine. So
I was going to see, does it look like there might be any other ogres like nearby if I scan really quick? Based on...
you would have looked around immediately. There's nothing else yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's just try to avoid this guy, I'd say, so we can go just try to go parallel to or perpendicular to his path.
Okay, that'll put you going higher up the slopes.
Right. And then wait for him to pass and come back down.
Sure. So kind of do an arc, I guess. You can just sort of arc him, right? Just sort of arc.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. And again, hopefully he doesn't catch my trail. So. Interesting.
So you've been working your way through. You pause every now and then just to listen for any signs of following.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It's now mid-afternoon.
How much does an ogre? I have a shape-shifting potion. That wouldn't be an ogre, right? Because 150% of my body weight. They're pretty big, right?
You'd have to make yourself look very young.
Yeah, I'd be like a tiny ogre.
Right. You'd have to be a juvenile or something like that.
God, if ogres are dumb as adults, imagine how they are as juveniles.
I know, right?
Or if they're really smart and then they actually get like lessons.
That's hilarious. It's the only thing that keeps them alive is they're intelligent and they're young, right? And they
bark around him.
As you set off again, sort of completing the bottom half of your arc, I should probably have you roll again because you changed directions, and that's justification for giving you another navigation roll. So roll and see if you can get back on track.
78.
You feel like staying higher is the way to go. Across the way, you see one of the landmarks that she is marked. It's on the far side of the valley. Again, Faldrum is clearly marking things that you can see from well above the treetops.
Right.
And so this is just sort of a jagged scar in an escarpment, revealing some sort of red ore or clay. So it puts you about a third of the way there. In the next hour, at the base of a tree on this slope that you're on, you see in 30 or 40 feet ahead at the base of a tree, you see things glittering on the ground. I should hide this ECHR thing. I don't need ECHR up here.
I will send Milani over to do a little circle around the area, make sure no one else is nearby. And
She's only going to have 10 or 12 feet of clearance above
right,
the
she could
summit.
just hop, yeah, from tree to tree and do it that way.
Broken bits of crystals or gems. They're also embedded on the far side of the tree, the side farthest from you.
So, yeah, I'll again, if Milani doesn't see anyone or hear anyone around, I'll come up to the spot as well and get off my horse and investigate a little more closely.
Why don't you get off your high horse?
Get off my high horse. My horse is actually a pony. It's very short.
Oh, my bad.
Get off my short horse.
There's this Georgia writer. He was a journalist for years and years. He's a humorous writer named Louis Grizzard. And one of his book titles is Shoot Low, Boys. They're Riding Shetland Ponies.
That's a great title.
Isn't that great?
So specific, but that's
yeah.
what
Yeah. He one of the lines from either that book or another. My mom was a big fan of his, and I actually went to school with him. But he wrote after having a heart attack. He talked about some of the treatments he had to go through, and he said the doctors told me you're going to feel a little pressure, and what that means is, hey, did you notice that dump truck on your way in? Well, that dump truck, all 10 tons of it, is going to park on your chest.
Just a little bit of pressure.
That's right. The gems crystals are clear. Like looking at some of their remnants, they seem to have at one time been rectangular, about the width of a piano key, but about 3 inches long. There are bits of golden wire. Your first thought is definitely a necklace of some sort. There is a nail in the tree, and it is pinning some of the gold wire to the tree.
Interesting. Maybe the necklace was hanging here.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna see. I got some spells here. General magical gems may resist this spell. So I've got it. Just gem lore is this spell. I'm curious to just try casting that. So it'll tell me quality of a gem and the type. It won't really tell me any magical properties of the gem if it has them, will it? Or I guess I don't know that.
No, I don't think you. I don't know. I think you would know. I mean, if you've learned the spell,
with appraisal,
right?
Okay. Well, then maybe I'll try just to detect magic on the area and try to focus on like what was it? Was this a magic item, right? And what might its properties have been,
right?
With that kind of focus in mind, try concentrating on the spell.
Do you want to take the long focus and take your time to cast it? Okay.
Yeah, it's my tongue as well, so I'll pull that out.
Okay.
Wait there a good while to focus on it.
All right.
And roll it up. That's a 20.
So it's a successful cast, just not as successful as you need.
Uh-uh.
Erase some exhaustion, as well for your teleport. The It is definitely magical. All the shards still possess magic, and the tree as a whole is magical, and it certainly feels to be of the same type. So it certainly seems like being penetrated by these gems has imbued the tree with magic.
Interesting. Does this tree look different in any way than the other trees because of that? Or, I could postulate because of that.
It's difficult to tell in the sunlight, but there might be a glow
Hmm.
about the tree.
Just one more kind of doing a perimeter around the area, by about 10 feet or so. Any like
Sure.
trails or something that might lead up to this location? Any other
No.
come across?
And sort of looking around, just whenever you get a break in the canopy, looking for like any buildings or anything.
Right.
Nothing along those lines either.
Quinn asked what kind of tree. Detect tree. Detect tree.
Tree lore.
Tree lore. It is a Midwestern oak.
Deciduous, of some age. It's among the larger trees in the area, but not so large as to stand out. Um, so,
Okay. Well, yeah. We'll don't really know what happened here, but that's all right. We'll kind of keep on heading toward the temple then. It's better to have come across a magic item and not understood it than to be vaporized by it.
you're
Doesn't really
often
roll off the tongue. I'll make that better.
uh, spoken like a true veteran of Karandrin. Um,
Yes.
so, new friends in the distance.
Yay.
This time down slope from you. Heading. They're heading to a point ahead of your path. They look like muscular humanoid frogs, bipedal. They're they are armed. They have a glower about them that seems hostile. They are armed and armored. Um,
The two of them.
a pair.
Okay.
Their armor is doesn't move as they walk, so it may be some form of plate, but it's
Hmm.
not silver or gray. It's sort of a milky color and very bumpy.
Bone, maybe.
I mean, it's a possibility, but it'd be a very irregular bone. I mean, it's a very rough,
Right.
bumpy,
Right.
bumpy texture.
Bumpy bone.
Um, bumpy bone. That's what we'll call them. Um, they stop. They spot you.
Well, what are they armed with? Let me get a chance.
Let's see here. One carries a light crossbow and carries it, ready to use.
Hmm.
The other has a falchion, the curved blade that broadens at the end, not the
Right.
scimitar, which is generally an even length until it tapers at the end. Um, they wear tunics. Otherwise, they have pouches. Um, they each carry a large pouch worn at the back position. You would think probably provisions and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They squint at you rather fiercely, and they run for cover.
Okay.
You lose sight of them, but they ran closer to you for cover,
Interesting.
about 150 feet away. They move as well as a goblin does, so fairly quick.
Right.
A little quicker than um, the average human.
Now, are they kind of as tall as a human?
They're about the size of a goblin, so they're 5 to 5.5 feet tall. But they have got some stocky power to them.
Yeah. So it's always weird when you come across this. I'm like, should I try to speak with animal or should I? I mean, it's
Right.
really fact. I'll. I mean, they know where I am, so it won't hurt me to kind of say, to them, saying in facts, I mean you no harm. Uh, I'm just trying to get on my way. If you'll let me. But I will have my shield kind of raised and ready, and looking
Sure.
around.
Yeah, we'll just say you saddle on over to a tree for full cover.
Yeah.
Um, no reply. You hear movement. They're definitely closing in on your position.
Okay.
They have spread out because whereas they were together, you're certainly hearing one of them now down further to your left.
Right. Sounds like it's probably going to be combat. So let me. Got any potions? Potion invisibility. Awesome.
Now, it's going to take them. They're having to sneak, and they're having to
Right.
come uphill.
Right. So
So
kind of gear.
which is to, and you have a horse,
Right.
which is to
Right.
say, if you want to just mount up and go, it's going to be difficult riding on this slope, but you're going
Yeah.
to be riding across the slope. If they get there with the crossbow, you're already within range of the crossbow, but you're too difficult
Yeah.
to get right now.
I think that's a good idea. Again, I kind of want to focus on getting to the temple and not using too many resources before I get there
Right.
in terms of magic and items and everything. So yeah, knowing that they're creeping up toward me, I'll try to take off on the horse, to gallop and just outdistance them.
Right.
Trying to keep an eye on the crossbow guy if he makes an appearance.
All right. Roll to. Let me check your ride here.
Not definitely not great.
No. Am I
Maybe
missing any magic items you have for it?
my saddle of surefootedness. I think is what it's called.
Right.
Yes, plus 15 magic to ride and plus 25 magic to ride or riding maneuvers on tricky terrain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. Roll it, sir.
Oh, also equestrian's horseshoe plus 14 rune to ride. So yeah, I should have a plus 30.
Nice.
Let's roll. Try to gallop out of there. It's 20. I'll need that plus 30.
So not good trying to coax the horse into a full gallop.
Yeah.
No mistakes, really. It's just that the terrain was too tricky for you to navigate and the horse to go, okay, this is going to be safe. Oh, that's funny. Did you see Quinn? Quinn's
croaks.
comment, it croaks.
With a flail.
Have
By the way,
made some.
right now I have a bola in my hand.
Okay.
I have a spear, so and we'll keep that. In case they start following me, I can try a
Right.
long thing.
Twang of a crossbow passes wide.
Okay.
Roll again.
Boom. 6. Okay.
Jeez.
My horse is still mad at me, leaving it alone for a couple of days. It's like, oh, you want me to gallop? Okay. Sure, I can gallop.
The horse turns into a bare spot. I mean, you're still going, but you are not moving at speed at all. The horse is just difficult to control on this hill, but you're now in a very open area of cover. He stopped and fired, though, so it might be a more difficult shot. He fumbled his shot.
Hell yeah.
He rolled a 4.
Never trust a frog with a crossbow. They don't know how to use it.
If you've watched Muppet Treasure Island, you know that they can fumble with swords. I love Muppet Treasure Island. It's the best.
Yeah, Kermit's last appearance.
That's right. So there's a cry of pain, very guttural. It is in some sort of pigeon form of Thax. So they apparently know some Thax. For those of you who don't remember, Thax is the Mannish language. There is no real common, like you have in D&D. There's nothing like that really. Thax is the closest you come because it's one of the dominant commercial nations. So you find it in a lot of the ports and in this region, which is right next to its home nation. But really, once you go over these mountains, it's a mix.
And I should have probably spoken to Goblin. I didn't even think about that, but doesn't matter in this scenario. They're gonna try to attack me anyway.
All right, roll again.
78.
Moving along.
Okay. Again, let's just try to outdistance these guys. We'll keep glancing back, making sure they're not catching up.
You do glance one. He's drawn a short bow. He's standing on a rock to try to get a good angle on you, but you know that he's got no chance of hitting you. You're out of range.
All right, good.
You pull the horse around a bend just to have more cover. How long do you want to keep this up?
Probably like 3 more rounds. Just really outdistance them. Yeah.
Roll it up.
Still trying to keep 10.
Oh, jeez.
Still trying to keep on line with the temple, where that's in that direction.
Yeah. You are. As long as you're on this side of the valley. Right. You come to a significant stream running parallel to the valley, and you.
It's hard because it's mirrored, so I keep adjusting it one way. I'm like, that's not right.
I know. I do the same thing with mine. I'm going this way.
I should just think about it, not actually look at myself.
Right. It breaks for the stream. 2 if you go over, you can't coax it to just gallop over.
Okay.
Roll again.
7.
Jesus Christ.
Fantastic. If I recall, this horse was named Judas. not surprised he's gonna
Well, yeah, but do you recall
trademark
who
dog.
named it? Do you recall that? You
I,
named
I
it.
think I think it was Midnight Dawn. I can't remember. I know they were in the stream when I was naming him. Yeah, a couple
That's hilarious.
might have been one of them. We'll have to go back to the archives and try to find that.
That's right. Um, so,
I mean, yeah, I can just try to go along the stream, right, and then find a place to ford it
oh
instead.
no, it's fordable. That wasn't the thing. Is that the horse, as it
Oh,
approached, didn't know if it was fordable, and you couldn't, and you knew it was, but you couldn't
right,
coax it across. So it
right, okay,
pulled up short, and then you wound up walking across, and you're like, I really want to get more distance here.
yeah, yeah. So we'll try running for another, 2 rounds.
All right, roll.
After I'm on the other side of the river, 50. That's more good.
That's much better, and roll. Give me another roll.
And 16.
That's okay. These tens and sevens are your problem.
Yeah.
No more sign of pursuit.
Okay.
When he was standing to shoot you, as you reflect back now, he had no markings of the Iron Empress on his armor.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Also, it looks like this armor was made of a series of hard, milky glass bubbles,
Oh, interesting.
almost like marbles, like what we would call marbles. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Like how big is each bubble? Like, that big?
yeah, about yeah.
Wow.
So it forms essentially a breastplate of this material. Um, um, you also remember seeing that, with his arms, up to shoot, he had a number of bracelets and bangles on both wrists.
Yeah. Interesting creatures.
On the far side of the valley, as it bends to the west,
Mm-hmm.
you see um, slabs of stone that seem to have broken sort of rectangularly and sort of either revealed by erosion or they've slid down.
Hmm.
But it looks like there are very square windows or doors cut into it. But that's on the far side of the valley.
Okay.
Um, but of note,
So this is like in the far distance. How big do these windows look? Like regular sized?
a little small.
Okay.
Not you're used to very large windows because you grew up in a wealthy home.
That's true. Yeah.
And this is more like the windows you see that commoners have, the poor
Yeah.
sods, that, are 2 feet, 2 feet high maybe and 2 feet wide.
Windows.
Um, Forward in the distance, you can see the hill with the two knobs. You should be there, you hope, in another hour or so. And that'll put you at the halfway mark for at least distance wise to get to the temple.
Right. All right. Good. Good progress.
All right, roll it up for me.
Boom. 2. Awesome. That's great. These dice do not want me to get to the temple. The Iron Empress is working against us in this episode, Kevin.
All right, roll again and subtract it.
50. And I'm starting to I think I need a little bit of magic here helping me out.
So you are surprised to find yourself entering a very thick canopy, very overgrown area at the base of a hill. You sort of worked your way
Mhm.
down, and you pull yourself up short because just as you're sort of going under this canopy, you realize this is not trees supporting this canopy and this vines.
Mm.
This is a half buried village.
Oh wow.
Um, and so there's this heavy vine cover, and peering through it, light piercing through the canopy, you can see overgrown doorways and so on. But again, sediment and leaves and humus have all basically, the doorways are one third of the way filled with earth and
Wow.
so on. There are branches growing out of every village, and it's this weird avenue going through. It's very eerie, but sort of beautiful with the light piercing through.
Yeah.
And you're like, the canopy must have been so thick that she just overlooked it as
Right.
a possible mark.
Landmark.
Um, right, landmark, not just mark. It's not a mark, Kevin. So,
Land.
but you're right up on it. Like you're like 15 feet from the first building because you just approached it thinking trees and,
Yeah.
um, so you
Well,
pause and, shield and you
yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Um, there's definitively There's definitively sounds coming from much further in.
Hmm.
What do you
Okay.
want to do?
I'll send Nalani, up to the first house, kind of perch on the corner of the first house and see if she can hear what kind of noises are.
And that's only going to gain her 15 feet, right? You're only
Yeah,
10
I guess
feet
it's
from
a
it.
lot closer. Okay. Um, I am curious about this place. I do feel like exploring it a little bit. Shouldn't be too big if it's just a village, right? But um, let's we'll send her in, to the kind of the thicker part of the village and do a little bit of scouting. Um, so just hopping from tree to tree in the canopy, keeping her ears out.
Lands, looks around. One of the houses, looking across the way, there is ancient thick webbing down one street, perpendicular to the lane you're looking down. But it
Okay.
hangs in rags, but it is clearly not normal sized spiders.
Hmm.
But it seems untended, which doesn't mean undangerous, it just means
Right.
untended.
Yeah.
You tell Nalani, avoid that, right? Can't have her caught in a web. She goes down a few more houses, stop me at any time. She peers into windows and so on. Shutters are hanging um, off the off the windows and so on, so she can peer into most homes without real effort.
Okay. And what is the wealth level look like? Just kind of mostly
Peasant.
peasant homes. Yeah. Okay.
You send her a few more down. The road turns. She is sort of at the last house before the turn, and this is an intersection. And there are 11 ghostly forms standing around a candle the size of a small barrel. The candle burns with a blue flame about the size of your hand. Ghostly chains come from the base of the candle and tie each ghostly form's hands to it. They appear to be dwarven and elven. And that's when it occurs to you that that's the strange thing about this village is clearly it's a mix of dwarven and elven, just based on
Oh,
the door heights.
yeah.
The beings facing Nalani um, are clearly distorted elves and dwarves.
Hmm.
Um, they are almost noseless. Their eyes are large, gray ovals, and their mouths form a perpetual circle. And it is this constant moaning coming from their mouths that you heard. But that candle is so familiar to you, you cannot stand it. And that's when you need to roll.
Well, we'll roll that, and then maybe we'll take a break and investigate this. Well, it's a 25, so
So you cannot place it.
okay. Well, yeah, let's take a quick break and then come back and see what the hell is going on here.
All righty. Thank you guys for sitting with us this long. We'll be back after just a few moments. We're going to go stretch our legs and fill our drinks. We hope you take your chance to do that as well. And we will see what Brise is going to do about these ghostly forms around a candle. So bear with us. We'll be right back.
Anything.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Let me get our guy back here. There he is.
Boom.
Sue, coming across something interesting.
Crazy interesting. Maddeningly familiar. My first thought is something related to Verilag, like the soul prison she was trapped in.
Oh, no
There's not a
change.
lot of parallels other than just, you know, that the fact these are spectral beings
Right.
and chained. So, um, hmm. Do they pay any attention to Nalani as she comes, close to them?
Um,
Or
they
comes within
do.
sight of them? Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's interesting. Some turn and point to her and speak. Um, I can't make out the words,
Hmm.
but their interest is almost um, pedestrian. It's almost
Right.
look at that interesting butterfly, which you wouldn't expect ghostly figures to have.
Right.
Um, they're all adults, dwarven and elven, as I said. They all have the same sort of distortions
Yeah.
in their face. Not a sense
Is it
of
a mask that they're wearing, or is it literally their faces are the
literally
same?
their faces are distorted. Um, or it's difficult to say. Like, is this
Yeah.
in what way is this a face really anyway of a ghost? I mean,
Yeah.
but certainly if these are their souls, and the soul carries forth an image of represents one's self image, then there's a mournful
Interesting.
sort of appearance to them.
This is like the extreme version of the raw, yeah, version of their. Interesting.
So
Okay. Let me. I mean, if they don't seem to be too frightened or reactive to Lonnie, I'll dismount my horse, tie him up, and we'll walk to the kind of until I can get them in sight,
okay,
and
so we're
definitely have my
sneaking
yep, and I'll have my shield and spear out as well.
with the low canopy. You may not want the spear, but that's up to you.
No, I'll just do shield then,
Okay,
and um,
channeling will be very effective against.
true in case they do turn on me.
Yes.
11. Oh my gosh. I mean, they're chained up. So let's see what happens. Um, okay, so I'll start creeping towards them. Yeah.
All right, roll the creep.
That's a 49. Got a
Okay.
couple bonuses to that. So if you have them
Okay.
marked down or not.
Yep.
Okay.
And another.
Sorry.
And another.
Oh, another roll. 33.
And another.
63.
Not terrible. They don't really turn and look toward, what little sound you do make doesn't seem to disturb them. Now, peeking around, there's four of them that are facing your direction. That's going to be trickier to
But
do.
I think at this point, I do want them to notice me. So see how they'll react. So, I guess what's the distance to the edge of the circle from where I am now?
It's about
60 feet?
40 feet.
40. Okay.
So that's walking one round. I mean, so keep that in mind. That you
Yeah.
cover that. Most people could cover that and could charge you and get an attack.
Right. Okay. Well, you know what? Brees is going to be brave and step out and try to get their attention visually, but have my shield definitely at the ready.
The ones facing you are um, They react alarmed and they scramble to their feet. The chains are almost tight to the thing. You can notice you can see through the chains, and I don't mean the loops in the chains. I mean you can see
Yes.
through the very substance of the chain. Um, the others, react to them. They all stand and turn. Their language, it's definitely some form of Dwarven.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely no expert at Dwarven. Got a 4 to understand.
um, they all slide away from you, but of course eventually they're all pulled tight against the candle. The candle does not move, despite 11 of them.
Wow,
Not
tugging.
exactly. Yeah, I mean they're not trying to pull it. I mean they seem to recognize that that's as far as they can go,
I
but
see. Okay.
they're um, you're an unwanted stranger.
Right. And I don't want to be here either. So
Most people
I
feel
try
that
to.
way about Karandrin.
Yeah,
Based on our viewership, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll try to speak both in Elven and Dwarven, saying, I mean, Tarm. Can you explain um, what mess you've gotten yourselves into? Explain
Are you a victim blamer? Is that?
what's going on here. Someone give me the rundown.
They look toward one particular dwarf whose back was to you, male. He looks at them and looks back at you. He spreads his hands and shows you that they're empty. Um, um, he gestures for you to stay back. Speaks in Elven very slowly. Roll for me.
75.
Um,
Quinn says, Temba, his arms wide. I don't know what that means.
that's a cool Star Trek reference. You would really enjoy that one. You would really enjoy that one because of your interest in language and culture. You would really enjoy that one. That's an episode they show in anthropology courses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so here, I'll send you the name of the episode. It's a very unusual name, but it's there we go. You said it to your dad because I know he's a fan. He would. Yeah.
Dormock. All right.
Um,
So I'm going to watch after the stream.
that's right.
I'll be like, that's what Quinn was talking about.
So clearly, it is a warning to stay away from them, and
Okay.
a warning for you to leave. But they're clearly afraid of you. But weirdly, they're also afraid for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I, pull out my spear and point it at the candle, towards the candle and, point to the spear. I'm like, I could help you if that's what you need. Again, speaking in Elven.
That's not the way to do it. The way to, well, there's a way to do it, I guess.
I have to use some. Where's some of my lore spells here? Detect curse.
Um, he gestures emphatically, and even steps between you and the candle.
Hmm.
The candle's just behind him now. He um, he goes on and on. It is seemingly, I mean, there's a ton of information you're not getting, but you would increase everyone's danger.
Okay. Hmm.
There's also something about there must be some sort of guardian or something on this thing. There's a sense that something will arrive. You keep getting arrive or come.
Okay. Well, I do have texts in tongues from my locating lore tome. So allows communication with a person or text. Oh, I cast it. Hold on. I cast it on a person, so I cast it on the person I want to communicate with, or they would
And
need
you
to
can
like
cast it on, no,
read
you
it.
can cast it on you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cast on a person or a text, but okay, I'll cast it on myself. I'll pull out my tome, cast it on myself, and see if I'm successful, and then I'll ask for some clarification.
All right. Roll your, what level is the spell?
Level 3
All
and
right.
cast from the tome, so 20 minutes a level. So it'll be 200 minutes. Nice.
Well, more than that, recall. But go ahead.
20 times 10 is not
You're
200.
not level 10. You're level
But
11.
I'm casting from a tome.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Forgive me. You're right.
So I guess, yeah, it always is at level 10. 13. Fantastic.
That is a failure, but it's not a fumble. That is
Not
right on the cusp.
okay.
I mean, literally, if you'd rolled a 12, that would have been a fumble.
All right. Well,
Try it again.
try it again.
Erase your exhaustion.
Re-exhaustion. 72. That's
There you go. Um,
again, text, I guess, tongues. I cast tongues on myself.
and you're right. You would have to cast it. You're right. You would have to cast it on him, but he doesn't get a resistance because it's not harmful.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Okay. So they don't have to agree to. Okay. So in that case,
right. So you cast it, um, and he is, you know, he's just wondering what you're doing. He doesn't say anything. What would you like to do?
I say, can you repeat? I've cast magic that will help us understand each other. Can you?
He's shocked. You know my words now.
Yes. Thank.
What are you doing here? You cannot be here. If she returns, you will be in great jeopardy, as we may all be. You must leave.
Who is she?
She goes by many names. We know her as Volshot.
Son of a bitch. Okay. I do know Volshan.
What are you doing here?
So I'm going to ignore his questions. I want to figure out as much as I can about.
I'm going to ignore his questions, and what I'm going to do.
Well, it's something valuable you've taught me in our role playing is that if an NPC asks me something, I don't have to answer him. Like,
No,
if I'm short on time, then I'm going to know what information I need. So I asked, what did I know Volshad?
know of her.
Not person. I know of Volshad. What have they done to you here?
Some decades ago, she raised us from our rest. made us reveal the location of our village elder.
Mm.
And then she changed us to this. And it all comes flooding back to you. There is a sketch of that candle in the papers you burned.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
You know, you were just grabbing papers and throwing them on top of the pile, right? Ready to burn them and so on. To burn that whole place, not really down, but to destroy as much of what you could.
Right.
And that was one of the, handfuls of paper you threw on there was a candle roughly of that design, but definitely with chains coming from it. There were sketched figures.
Right.
And now we serve her, forever unable to rest. And with Elbarig at her mercy. A wise woman. A seer, a healer, so carefully buried in these hills, and now her slave.
Wow. Elberig is Elberig.
IEG. IEG. Yep.
IEG. Yeah. So Elberig is. So I ask, has Volshad? How often does Volshad come back to this place? And is Elberig with them or with her?
Sometimes she returns, sometimes with our elder.
Right.
But anytime the candle is disturbed,
Oh, okay.
you must not strike it. You must not, or you will join us.
That would have been an end to Breeze's tale. One,
It's been very interesting. But
one way for him. You just role play a century of me standing there until another adventurer comes back.
This is, and then like our viewership shoots up. I don't know. I believe Briefs is going to get out this time, this decade.
This time, we just never stop streaming until Breeze gets out. Do one of those. So we should do for 100th stream should be like a 24-hour stream.
Oh man,
There are some streamers who do that. It's a gimmick, oh, let's do a 24-hour stream. And they always say never again.
I love role playing, man. I could almost do that.
Yeah. I could probably go for maybe like 10 hours.
You're thinking it through. You're like, we'll talk about it, Kevin. We'll talk about
it. Okay. She returns moves with the elder. If I disturb the candle, just catching up here. Okay. Damn. So I destroyed the notes that might have had clues on. Oh. But I do know Volshad had a code word, had a code phrase that they use in a lot of their spells, a lot of their traps to make it safe for them. So I'll tell them that I'm going to try that. I'm going to try a word that, a phrase that she had used that may reverse this spell and free all 11 of you. And,
she will come. Sure. She will come. You cannot free us.
Okay. They think that will trigger her arriving.
She was here only 3 years ago. She knows when things disturb the candle.
Yeah.
Now, I assume you now know that we can now say that there's no question that Volshad's alive.
Yes. Was killed for all our viewers. Volshad was killed years ago, but as a necromancer, no one truly believes she's fully dead. And yeah,
Well, and
3 years ago, that recently is. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say that she's also known to, I mean, to have really, she's really a planner.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, just based on that base we came across too, for sure. Okay, I think it's unwise to try to free these people myself, and then end up going up against Volshad in whatever form they are now. So I tell them that I will try to return another day and undo this evil that was done to you, but I'll heed your advice for now and leave your souls as they are, at risk of putting you in further danger. So. But I'll remember this place. She might have even some teleportation, some charm on this place to avoid teleporting into here. Maybe. I'd be surprised. Yes, maybe. I don't know. No one will come across this though. But
yeah, just the occasional. Yeah, I mean, just the occasional, family trying to survive or thief hiding out. I mean, it's those kind of, things.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, if I ever need to teleport back here, I have a pretty clear memory of it. So I'll.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to teleport that close.
It's true. So maybe I want to. Well, maybe the spider webs. I can walk back to there and kind of memorize that area, how the webs are hanging, and be like, okay, if I need to come back here, I'll have that spot in memory.
I mean, the point is you want to find a safe spot to memorize, and you're not going to leave until you do that.
Right. Exactly. That's
right.
what I. Yeah.
So
I'm going to do, and I'll bid them farewell.
All right. So it's several minutes, and you say, "Look, it's my sacred duty to try to help you. I will not forget about you. You find a spot a couple doors down. You sort of just deliberately sort of snap some vines and so on. And so here you have this weird, house overgrown. The door is, and, it's just an odd set of circumstances. So put that down in your list.
Excuse me. Okay. Very interesting. I'll go back out of the village, get back on my horse, and leave this place for now. Thanks. Feels weird, like leaving an area like that, but yeah, it's so dangerous. I understand what they mean about Volshad. So.
I mean, in some senses, it gives you an advantage. It's sort of like Verlag's lair / prison, right?
Yeah.
In that here though, you have some control. Hit the candle, go hide, let her show up and ambush her.
Right.
But if it goes south, really fast, really bad.
So. But yeah, that is like a surefire way to draw Volshad here and like trap her. So I'll have to bring it up with like either someone in the temple or Fraldrin, somebody I could maybe recruit powerful enough to, or who would have enough, desire to do that. Oh, I should bring it up with what's his face,
Aldrich.
Aldrich, come here. I need you. What was it? Gabrus? That was his name. I should bring
right.
So I'll write that down. All right, so back out of the village, back on my horse. I remember I rolled pretty low for navigation. Do I know that I'm kind of off track?
You do now because you didn't think you would be at the base of any hill.
Yeah, okay.
You thought you'd still be up on the slopes. So I mean, you could go around. you can go around the vine covered village. Wait till the canopy either picks up or goes down. Right, either goes up into the trees or
Right. I could even just try like a levitate, just climb up, above the treetops and do a whole. What did Bilbo do in the Hobbit? He's like looking over, or no, it's Frodo looks over like the
Mirkwood.
Mirkwood, yeah, but then sees it doesn't end. He's like, oh my
Right.
could do one of those. I don't know if that would help me a lot.
In terms of navigation, you mean?
Right, so I could see any of those landmarks, right, that
Right.
Fraldrin plotted. So
It's true, but keep in mind, fearful of heights.
right.
Yeah.
So how tall are the trees?
I mean, the village seems to. I mean, the trees have seemed to been stunted by the fact of the village, right? You've got trees at 15 and 20 feet going out of roofs and things, but
Mhm.
they've obviously not been able to grow freely. They've been stunted and sort of
Right.
tamped down by them. So that would be a good place, but it would probably only get you to the far side of the village, not high enough to go above the trees, which are, 40, 50, 70, 80 feet high.
Yeah,
So it
that's a
might,
bit higher for me. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so, you could work your way up the next hill, or actually not the next hill, but a hill to the side, just whatever the hill is to the left or right.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Just get a better view of everything, see if I can
All
spot
right.
where I got off track.
Travel is moderate, but um, moderately difficult. But you do find a way to crest the decent long ridge that is the hill further to this side of the valley.
Mhm.
You work your way up. Roll for me.
70.
That's so funny. That's what I rolled. Um,
I
so
win.
that's right. So the hill on the far side of the village from you is the hill with two knobs. Is the hill with
Okay.
the two, the two bare rocks that are just very prominent at the crest of that hill. Um, um, so you figure you can work your way along this ridge and make good distance. The problem is there's not a single marker really to mark the location of the temple, which is going to be at the base of the hill, seemingly
Hmm.
built into the hill somewhat, unless that's just erosion and so on. That's eventually backed up into the hill, backed into the
Okay.
back of the temple. I mean, um, roll for me.
83.
So it occurs to you as you're writing, you didn't understand their Elven and Dwarven, possibly because this predates that village. Those people predate the arrival of the goblins. It's a
Okay.
very old
Right.
form,
This was, Dwarven before the Dwarven
right?
elves before the goblins came.
Right. So this part would be Dwarven, but on the border with the areas that the elves owned. So
Right.
you would have some cross habitation and things like that.
Yeah.
And so that village is very old. Um, um, the other issue that occurs to you is, and there may be no way to address this, but how did Volshad know that there was something or someone of value at this village?
I was thinking that too. It's so remote. And this elder must be renowned. Maybe they retired to this village or something.
Right.
Could have asked more about them, but maybe I'll do
It's,
some
yeah.
research.
Yeah. You at least have the name.
Mhm.
Um,
Um,
so, um, working your way down, good vantage point. You follow the ridge, and you could follow a ridge all the way down closer to the valley floor, but you don't think that's useful. You need to stay higher up.
Yeah.
So you take slopes that go further up.
Okay.
Roll to navigate.
86.
Huh. Simultaneous to you staying on track, the going gets easier. You make a lot better time.
There we go.
You know it's going to be dark soon, but you feel like you're within a few hours of the temple. Do you want to press on in the dark with the lantern or what have you? Or do you want to camp?
Let's camp, because knowing that we're getting close to the temple, there might be more ogres and other of, things sworn to the Iron Empress. And ogres see in the dark, right? Do I
Yes,
know that?
by all accounts that you've heard in
Right.
tales
So I
and
don't
in
want to be,
bars. Yes,
yeah, I don't want to be around a bunch of things that can see in the dark. My
right.
lantern on. So yeah, we'll set up camp in a good spot before it gets dark
Okay.
and play it safe.
Scoot down the slope some to get some cover from the wind. Man, you were having a hard time finding a decent. Just no place big enough for you and the horse to be safe.
Yeah, you can always just try to detect shelter, see if any like abandoned cottages or something show up.
Sure. Why don't you do that? Because it's been another hour. You're almost out of light.
It's an 83 to cast detect shelter. Let me
And
see what
what's
it is.
yeah? I was about to say.
I remember. I think it's in this one. There it is. Level 7. 500 foot radius plus 500 feet of level. So I'm level 12. That would be it's a lot of math.
6,500 feet.
Yeah, 6,500.
So a mile in other in either direction. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Find some. It's a little lower down than you want to go. There was another signal. Just give you all the information, but it's further away and further ahead. And as high as it is, I mean, it would have to be really intact to, it's pointing
Yeah.
much further up slope, and you're like,
Right.
if it's not intact, the winds are going to be brutal up there.
Yeah.
So what you find is you find a abandoned mine. You actually have to cut brush away from it and so on, but it is spacious. You don't feel like things have come and gone from this at all.
Okay.
It's so overgrown, it's hard to imagine anything being in here. But you also listen, it smells, a little musty, but it doesn't smell foul.
Right.
And as one Istari said, when in doubt, always trust your nose. Um, um, so it's big enough for the horse. You don't really feel a need to raise the tent or anything. So there you go. So you've
Yeah, I'll
made it
still do a quick disguise camp just in case.
right. Set some of the brush back up in front of it and cast the spell.
Yeah, exactly. So
All right,
just
roll
level
to cast.
70.
Okay.
8 out of 100 exhaustion, doing fine. Okay, and I'll just have a meal and try to relax. And the tense day we had, it's almost like more scary when there is no action, because you know all those things are still out there.
I mean, exactly. And, they,
That overhead.
I roll for their movement and things like that. And of course, things that you encounter as you move.
Right.
There is increasingly there's a question about to what degree the valley is patrolled.
Right. Especially
Um,
if they were kind of almost described as uniform, it's like has the
yeah.
mark on it. Yeah.
You remember that goblin farmer you talked to? He's at the very mouth of this valley on the far side, and he knew that there were some. What did he? Wasn't he the one who told you there were some ogres who seemed to be in her service?
That's a good question. I vaguely remember the farm you were talking about. I think he did mention, something like that. People patrolling.
Um,
Yeah, because I remember mentioning something about like they had a symbol on them, like the dagger symbol. Yeah.
right, and you were pursued by two of them, just off of his farm. Yeah.
Right.
So, so reading, just relaxing. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's try to read a little bit from a tome that I'm studying, which will be what is it? Way of the Spirit, Eyes of the Spirit, 5 through 10.
Okay.
Do that.
And you pass out. Do we want to play a little more? Do we want to call it?
Let's play a little more. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably pass out from sleep.
Yes, you get a good 2
Yeah.
hours of reading done. All right.
Let's see if we can make it to the temple, and then start the next session there.
I think we should see if you can make it to the night.
Okay. Spoke too soon. Miracle Roll, the abandoned mine is the temple.
There you go. This is the anus of the snake temple. Now I know. You are awoken by a roar in the distance. You bolt straight up. Your horse is not happy. Gallops down further into the mine, but you can't worry about that right now. What do you want?
I wouldn't have tied him up. You think I just laid him?
Yeah, well, you'd have to tie him up outside. There's nothing to tie him up.
Yeah, I would have just left him in there. So he's
right.
Okay, let's remain hidden at the entrance of the mine behind the brush.
Peer out.
Yeah, peer out. Wait a little bit. See if any more sounds or movement.
Definitely the roar of an ogre. Several ogres. You think you can make them out at the crest of the hill across the way from you. So, I mean, they're a good probably 2 miles away. And they are banging weapons.
Shut up. I'm trying to sleep.
Exactly. Soon there's a spark of light on the crest of the hill, and it soon forms a bonfire. But there's still sort of trees between you and them, even at the crest of the hill.
Yeah.
And at least 3, if not more. Definitely makes you uneasy, but definitely also no immediate danger. What the rest night holds, that's a different question.
Yes.
What would you like to do?
Do I, knowing ogres are pretty common creatures, is there any tale I know of, like about if this is just something they're doing normally, or if, this seems pretty unusual behavior?
You have heard of family clans. Um, you do know that they cook with fire.
Yeah.
Um, this seems like a celebration. You don't know of celebrations, but you've never heard that they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It's possible it could just be a really good hunt. Maybe they
Right.
brought down a bear, and this is just, hey, we killed a bear, and now we've got 300 pounds of meat to eat.
Yeah. Okay. Um, out of curiosity, which way is the wind blowing? Like, given their sense of smell, right? If it's blowing away
You're
from,
out of the wind, so
well, oh, true, of course. So they wouldn't be able to
they
smell.
shouldn't really. It's blowing toward you, so you should be fine.
Anyway, okay. Okay. Um, we'll sit and watch them for as long as my patience and tiredness allows. But it doesn't seem like anything else, unless anything else develops, right? Then I'll just stay put.
The noise decreases. The fire does not. Um, you can tell when they feed it again, right? There's a sudden flare up, and then it goes down, and then it gradually
Yeah.
rises. I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah. You're not. I mean, you are up. You're just too
Yeah.
anxious about them being out there. Your horse gradually returns.
Yeah.
Um,
While we're waiting too, we'll just send out Nalani, do as far as she can go, do a scan of, the area around the mine, see if she spots anything moving out there.
movement, definitely. Other side of your ridge, it's a goblin. Looks like hunter, trapper, furrier. Very cautiously smoking a pipe. Keeps his hand sort of shielding the bowl of the
This,
pipe,
yeah,
and he's from the embers. He's sort of
right.
hiding it from
The light.
Um, he's got he set stuff down, not as really to make camp, because you're like, I know that area. I looked at that area too. It sucks. And
Yeah,
so he's just up on the slope, and when there's a noise from the hill, he turns and looks, and
I'm in the same
uh,
situation I am. Yeah,
yeah, he's several hundred yards away, but relatively close.
right. I'm gonna leave him be. Brise isn't too trusting of strangers, anyhow.
Especially don't want to fall asleep by one.
Yeah. Don't want him to spot Nalani either. Like, oh, great. Food. Hunter.
Falcons have fur, right? Ching!
I guess when you say trapper, specifically, he's looking for ground animals. Yeah, not birds.
Well, I guess
Is the
they do
phrase
trap birds.
right?
Audubon
It's
trap,
kind of an ambiguous phrase, but I think of
yeah,
like the America as those
pelts, yeah,
trappers, beaver pelts and
right.
fox fur and stuff like that. Thanks.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll just yeah. I nothing if nothing's developing, then I'm okay with sitting here. Then I'll continue to sit here and
so
monitor.
dawn comes. You find yourself jolting awake, but
Yeah.
you are exhausted.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
it was several hours of watching that bonfire. Now, I guess the good thing is they surely must be asleep now too. I don't know.
Right.
Um, so, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, my camp is still disguised and my spell is still active. I might sleep, try to sleep a little longer. Is that trapper still out there? If I send Alani out, you set up camp anywhere?
It's beyond her range to fly over,
Hmm.
but she catches his tobacco scent in the air
Okay.
above a spot with movement. He's considerably further down now,
Right.
and he may be doing the same thing, which is he moved and found camp, and then said, "All right, I guess I'm here for the till I feel up to moving."
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he doesn't seem to want anything with me moving further away, so I'll see if I can catch a few more Z's then. Wake more fully rested.
You pass out. That's no problem. I'll handle your rolls on this end while you type.
Sure.
Wake early afternoon, longer than you expected. You dream of the Iron Empress.
Okay.
Ichar has been taken, she says to you. She is dressed in her normal garb. Her hand rests on one of her daggers. You are at a very high end party, a high society party. You are dressed beautifully. You both have a goblet of wine. There are various goblin, elven, and human guests around. She says, I've given you a token in the form of Ichar.
Right.
What more proof do you need to serve me and to be rewarded?
What more proof do I need? Hmm. Um, could make an offer here. I didn't think this far ahead though, in terms of like. Hmm.
Well, I mean, it's hard to know what the next stage in a relationship like this is. I mean, you can't fault
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting you. I know how you can fault you. It seems
Yeah. Breeze is like. I mean, my immediate thing is to leave the people of Balabry alone, and ensure their safety, right? Like Mia Grall's.
yeah. But how would you materially corroborate that she's doing that?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Um, well, I'll bring up kind of deflect her question. Bring up I'm already in service to Oxier, in his pantheon, right, or Astalon's pantheon, right? I don't see how I can easily serve both you and them.
Soon your love for me will grow, the longer you know me.
Oh, I know those type of people.
Imagine how your fame would grow if I could help you achieve something that Lady Meowgraw wants.
True. It would be nice to go to parties like this all the time.
You need but find out some goal and put it before me. And together,
Well, I do say that how can we prevent Kralum from coming into this world and targeting me? Is that something in your power?
is it not within Oxyr's power? Why come to me with this if you are so trusting in Oxyr?
God, I don't like this bitch. Oh no, Kevin. Oh man. Oxyr doesn't directly address my dream. I wish he did. It would make this a lot easier. Um, I mean, I'll say I admit, it's the gods are mysterious in the ways they manifest sometimes. But I do know that Oxyr is also working, against that curse that I have on me. So, man, it's really hard to roleplay this. It's really hard to know what Brise would think. I mean, honestly, she would just be confused, right? I say, I honestly don't know. The gods, portray themselves in different ways. You are the first who has appeared to me in my dreams this way, and I don't know what to make of that.
There is a city some days' travel from here. A city the goblins call Handrock. It did not stand when I was in the height of my power. But there the goblins have built a great city. And there are items of tremendous power. Kralum reaches into this world using magic to find you. And there, in a shop, near the palace of Lord Brecca, there is an item that has the power to shield you from Kralum being able to directly find you with magic.
Oh, okay. Because Lord Hanrock's the capital city, and Lord Brecca, that would be like Queen, Goblin Queen.
No, there'd be other lords that would have other palaces around major cities.
I see.
It wouldn't be the palace; it would be a palace.
Right. Would the Queen be situated in Hanrock though?
Yes.
Okay. In a larger palace.
Yes.
Okay.
The thing is, like, if you've not been given a great deal of land and so on, but maybe you've been given a high ministry position, something like that, then you still want an impressive home, but near the queen. Because that is the power, and the more influence you can have over the queen, the better. the better your
Right.
family's fortunes. You know, um, it's you know it's business. It is the same as business. Um,
Right. So I ask her if about the name. What is the name of this shop, um, and the name of the item, if you know it.
I should describe it to you first, and that
Okay.
is, it is a leather girdle to be worn under the shirt. It is black leather with silver scales like armor that run in strips in the front and the back. The owner is unaware of all of its powers, and therefore the name will not do you any good.
How did she know? Oh my gosh. I'm intensely curious about finding this item and seeing if she's right.
But there,
Okay.
for a mere handful of gold, you could shield yourself from all but the most powerful detections that a pitiful demon could weave.
Does roll, if she seems truthful in this dreamscape.
What is your gut feeling of your dream self?
69 is my gut feeling.
Why'd you wink? That's so weird.
I mean, she's a 5,000-year-old goddess. I'm a woman of age. Whatever happens in the dream stays in the dream. I don't know what I'm. It's 9 o'clock, Kevin.
I hear you. I know you're crashing, buddy.
Oh, we'll see what happens here. And,
She is telling the truth.
okay.
But there is something wrong with her story.
Uh, I press her, saying, "Something is, something seems wrong with your story. I can't quite put it. Seeing if she will acquiesce or no."
So untrusting. If you find something that Lady Mirgral very much wants, I will bring you the girdle.
Okay. I know she can, based on. Yeah. Okay. Just tell her I will keep that in mind. Then, curious. I'm curious if this girdle is truthful, as you is a real thing, as you say.
So you're not going to commit, huh?
We'll commit to.
Seeking out information on Mirgral.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, okay. I'll commit in the sense that I'll say I will, see what I can find, in terms of whatever Miagral desires. And if I find anything
Roll for me.
I'll let you know. I don't know, Kevin. 74.
Your dream self recognizes that she would like the downfall of Aldrich.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
But I mean, again, I mean that's not to say you have to offer it. You seem to be very much. What
right.
is it called? Cogent dreaming or whatever it's called.
Lucid dreaming. Yeah.
Lucid. There it is.
Right.
You know, clearly the nature of this dream is that you can act just as you did and do in real
Right.
life. You just aren't very well equipped to attack.
Right.
Um,
Splash
as
one on
she
her.
so as so she says again, Mia Grawl's desires what I need, and imagine the rewards. And so the party scene transforms into that of mostly goblins and goblin nobles,
Hmm.
and Mia Grawl coming before you, you know, and you know grants you this shield that has her crest on it.
My
It's
God.
clearly been, it's got Oxyr's symbol on it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, the
All right. Fine. Fine. Okay. Given all those promises, Brees would definitely be interested in that. So I do mention that well, Mirgral does have a long-standing enemy, Lord Algrit, in county to the east. I know she would very much wish for him to be uh, dealt with.
sort of ruined,
Yeah, yeah,
downfall,
to no longer be a threat. Yeah,
status to, his family fortune to be sort of, to fall to ruin, I mean, it's not really a murder she cares about. It's about removing him from power.
exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah.
make that clear, like not his downfall, but just to remove him from power and
Yeah.
ease the tensions between his domain and hers.
Um, Roll for me.
47.
Okay. So, yeah, I know these things do get hot. We talk about it every.
Yeah, this is really tense too. I'm like,
Yeah.
but
So she says you will soon have the girdle in hand.
all right. Now let me wake up.
All right. Um, you wake up. You're feeling good. Um, um, and we'll have you start early afternoon, mid afternoon, coming
Okay.
out of the cave. You'll still need to eat a meal and so on, or two. I mean,
Yeah. All right, man. That was a doozy.
so yeah. Well, that was pretty interesting. Um, so there is our 90th episode.
Here we go.
Oh, that's the wrong.
No,
There we go. Oh, that's an
made it
interesting.
worse.
Um, so everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. I thought that was pretty fun. Um, so don't forget to like and subscribe. We are inching closer to episode 100. Um, if you think we're doing a good job, hop to Donor Box and send us a little love. We'd really appreciate that. If you want to hear more from Max, and I always do, I enjoy him very much, then hop on to YouTube, and he's got his own channel there. You see the short link where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. Thanks, as always, to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art for Brise that we use every stream. And I've written a book that you can find on Amazon called A Shore Too Far, and I hope you check that out and enjoy it. Thanks again, everybody, and Max, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Yeah, it was long and detailed episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. I definitely had a lot of fun. We'll see you, I guess, next this Wednesday.
This Wednesday,
Regular
we'll be back on our Wednesday schedule. I
2
apologize for
days.
my sleepiness. Yeah, just in 2 days, we'll pick this up, and we'll see if
Yeah.
Max's blood pressure's come down by then.
Oh my gosh. We'll see. We'll see.
So,
Okay. Good night, everybody.
yeah, good night. We'll see you next Wednesday.